Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day. Welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. The production sharing agreement governing the oil-rich Stabroek Block is not deemed a sweetheart deal for ExxonMobil and its partners by accident. The contract gives oil companies the power to use a significant portion of the nation's oil to cover a number of its bills, including those pertaining to the vacation and holiday expenses for its employees. When dealing with production sharing agreements, the foregoing is considered an established industry practice. In some cases, regulators must give their permission for certain costs that can be recovered by the company. Those eligible costs are determined by the state. In other cases, an agreement can specify the number of costs that can be cleared without permission, and there is a plethora of such expenses in the 2016 Stabroek Block PSA. ExxonMobil and its partners can, for example, recover the gross salaries and wages, including bonuses, of its employees. Costs regarding holiday, vacation, sickness, and disability payments are also fair game. And as the government of Guyana proudly cheers on Esso, the operator of the Stabroek Block and subsidiary of ExxonMobil, to increase daily production targets at the Liza 1 and Liza 2 fields, the administration has essentially allowed the company to throw gasoline into a fire. This is according to Professor and former Ambassador Dr. Kenrick Hunt, who holds a PhD in economics from The Ohio State University, USA. In a letter, Dr. Hunt, while responding to a missive by former Prime Minister Samuel Hines, pointed out that the two operational projects are now producing oil above the respective design capacity. The spike in production activities, however, also increases environmental risks for the country, one which the nation may very well have to bear on its own, considering the lack of a parent company guarantee. The current operational environment, according to him, allows Esso to flee without paying the penalties that can be mounted in the event of a major disaster. To this end, he sought to highlight the importance of Guyana protecting itself. And amid growing concerns about the government's recent decision to sole source a German-based company to produce an integrated electronic national identification card that will be costing taxpayers $35 million, the Ministry of Finance on Wednesday issued a statement defending the contract. The Finance Ministry claimed that the contract was awarded in accordance with the laws of Guyana and added that the company Veredo's Identity Solutions is an internationally reputable group. On the heels of the contract being awarded, former Auditor General and Stabroek News columnist Anand Gulsaran in his Monday column stated that while sole sourcing is catered for under national emergencies and national security, the awarding of the contract facilitated by the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, does not qualify. In fact, he contended that while the sole sourcing section of the Act was used, the justification is flawed because the project cannot be classified as being one of national security. And now let's tell you, gold mining activities in Marudi Mountains, Region 9, over the years have been marred by numerous tumultuous episodes, at times leading to the intervention of the relevant authorities. On Tuesday last, a complaint was made to a senior police rank by a gold miner of the Marudi Mountains, Region 9, Sean Myers, where he alleged being attacked by the general manager for the mining operation where he works. Myers said that over the weekend he was told by the cook that he was late for his meal around 6:30 p.m. and that there was no food available for him. This, he said, angered him since at the same time he was being told of no food, he saw scores of Brazilian workers eating in the dining hall. This, he said, led to him vociferously complaining, and as such, the general manager intervened. Myers related that the general manager armed himself with a cutlass that he would normally keep on his person, and this led to a quote-unquote cuss-out, and he was immediately fired and chased from the camp. Myers also informed us that ever since the issue, he has been warned to get out of the back dam before the boss gets into camp, and he is now fearful for his life. And I'll tell you, the government on Wednesday received $1.1 billion, a grant from the European Union to maintain its forest and natural resources, as well as to strengthen sustainable development in Amerindian communities. The agreement was signed by President Ali and Deputy Secretary General of the European Union Action Service, Helena Koenig, at State House. The Department of Public Information reported that the newly inked agreement stemmed from high-level discussions at the Conference of the Parties 27 in Egypt last year. With $1.1 billion funding, Amerindian communities will create sustainable business ventures that will reduce the pressure on its natural resources and overall preserve the forest and its biodiversity. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio. This is your news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Digicel's 16th anniversary celebration continues. This time we are giving 16 lucky customers a chance to win a brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. Yes, you heard correct. We're giving away 16 iPhones in 16 days. To enter the draw, simply top up your Digicel account with $1,000 or more, or pay your last postpaid bill in full, and you can be the winner of a brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. 16 days, 16 iPhones, 16 lucky winners. Start topping up today. Digicel, celebrating 16 years of serving you.
If something doesn't look right, then there is something wrong. And if you suspect child abuse, then you must report it to the Child Care and Protection Agency. During this time more than ever, we have to be the eyes and ears of abused children across the country. So if you see it, or you know it, or even if you just think it's child abuse, then you must report it to the police or call the CPA hotline on 227-0979.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
Welcome back. A Linden contractor, 27-year-old Fawaz McCrae, was remanded to prison for the charge of attempted murder committed on his cousin, 32-year-old Sergeant of Police Jermaine Semple. McCrae appeared before Magistrate Wanda Fortune at the Linden Magistrates Court on Wednesday morning. His cousin, whom he shot in the head, remains on life support. The incident occurred around 21 hours 30 on Sunday at the Crown and Anchor Grill and Bar in Linden. And now let's tell you, a robbery victim is still to receive justice 3 years after ranks at the Anna Regina police station located on the Essequibo coast were accused of replacing his gold jewelry with fake ones. Since the accusation was made in 2019, the Region 2 district has changed 3 police commanders, and the victim, Parmesh Ramdahin, is still to receive justice. The last update on the investigation of the switched gold jewelry was almost 1 year ago. The then police commander, Shiv Prasad Bacchus, said that he had inherited the case from the previous commander, but would follow up the investigation. He did his best to continue the investigation, and in August of 2022, he informed us that the matter was sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice. Not long after, Commander Bacchus was transferred to Region 6 and a new commander was sent to the district. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. The Demerara Harbour Bridge Corporation, which falls under the Ministry of Public Works, is preparing to have 28 pontoons from the bridge rehabilitated this year. It was revealed that the 28 pontoons include 24 regular pontoons and 4 large ones. This project, which is estimated to cost $550.9 million, has attracted 6 contractors. We understand that the related works will be carried out to ensure the safety of the structure. As reported, the bridge has been in service for a very long time and even outlived its 40 years lifespan. Meanwhile, police have arrested a driver after a piece of lumber fell off his truck and onto the front windshield of a minibus traveling behind him along the Sues-Linden Highway Wednesday evening. The incident occurred in the vicinity of Splashman's Resort. The wood, according to police, is a piece of 2x4 wood measuring some 25 feet in length. Luckily, all of the passengers and the driver of the minibus escaped unhurt. The minibus, however, was damaged, and it resulted in a confrontation between the 2 drivers. Investigations are ongoing. Having been assessed as having a medium-high risk to the vagaries of money laundering, terrorism financing, as well as the financing of the proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, the government's newly adopted national policy at revamping the system will now include professions such as lawyers, accountants, auditors, and real estate developers and others. According to the document recently adopted by the cabinet, there has been ongoing outreach and sensitization within the designated non-financial business and professions sector on the need for supervisory authority. And on that note, you close things off by turning the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7, dedicated to being blunt. Investor confidence, how about Guyanese confidence? John Hess and Darren Woods batting for their people. Who is batting for benefits for the Guyanese people? Are Guyanese considered so dumb that they don't know about real benefits? Why are Guyana's president and vice president speaking more like Exxon's directors? What has gotten into them that they cannot say a word, lift a finger for Guyanese? Now that would build Guyanese confidence, their respect for leaders, even a following. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
It's Thursday, March 16th. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the National Outlook as we close in on closing out this week, the middle of March. I'm looking at this blunt from last Friday's Kaieteur News. The promise to cut things in half, and immediately I knew who was being spoken of. It's the Honorable Vice President of Guyana, himself a former president, chief executive of this country. It seems that everything the Vice President, when he was president, and today he's Vice President, puts his hands upon and promises to cut by a considerable fraction, half or 2/3 or 2/5 or whatever the number is. Instead of that happening, the Guyanese people have been cut in half. I repeat, every time that the Honorable Vice President of Guyana has promised to cut something in half, what ends up happening is that the Guyanese people, those outside of his cabal and cronies, the Guyanese people are cut in half. Their hopes are cut in half, maybe more. Their dreams are dashed more than half. And
whatever promise they had or should have had from their wealth is reduced by significantly more than half. We've had, oh God, the Blunt spoke about Enmore packaging plant and the Skeldon factory and where else? And the GPL and the water and the state where we are in with these things. The packaging plant had to be shut down overnight and handed off to somebody. The GPL, if I remember well, during the few short years that the coalition was there, one of the few things that it was able to achieve was that the GPL somehow ran a bit more efficiently, a bit more consistently. Now with all the billions being pumped into the GPL, I still hear the cries and the laments about blackouts and brownouts and whatever outs. Not good enough. And who is the central architect? Who is the figure behind these things? The Honorable Vice President of Guyana. Like Midas, everything this man puts his hands on that could be of significance to this nation, it has fallen apart. It has turned up into a monstrosity and not what he has promised. Look at the record. I invite you, I challenge you, I encourage you to go and check for yourself. Show this nation, stand up and say he's done this or he's done. That stands as a testimony to his handiwork. The grandeur, the grandness of his visions, his practices. I dare anyone to come up with something that says otherwise. I'm GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. You were listening to the National Outlook.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.